This will probably be one of the last times you see me walking down these stairs because, well, I'm moving into a new place. It's that time. We did it. Finally. Anyway, today, I guess this evening, since it's 7:30, give or take, we're going to be working on a, you guessed it, actually I was going to say 3.0 Mercruiser, but it's actually 2.5. We're going to be working on the carburetor. Now, we're going to change out the power valve in this carburetor because this carb idles great and just a little bit above idle is great, but you try to give it any more of that, it just falls on its face. So what that tells me is the power valve is bad. Now the power valve, I'll explain it later when we get it apart. I'll show you what it is, but basically it covers the power from idle to basically almost wide open throttle. It adds fuel so the engine can get up on plane, or the engine can get its maximum power before the main jets kick in, because between, I don't know, I'd say 1500 to 2000 RPMs just fall on its face, just completely fall on its face and kill the engine. But if you go from idle, a little bit past idle, and then wide open throttle, it would actually, the main jets are then starting to play their role and is actually making the engine run. But anything between idle and wide open throttle is just, you have nothing. Just falls on its face. And on a boat, you really need all the fuel you can get because there's so much load on the engine because, well, it's pushing the boat through the water. I don't even know if I showed you guys this boat. This is my new boat. Don't mind the Christmas lights. It was Christmas in July last weekend. I have to take these off. But got my stickers on there. Everything's legal beagle. This is a decent, I wanted to try a cuddy cabin for a little bit. So this is what this is. It's a cuddy. It's in really nice shape. I gotta clean it out from last weekend's adventures. But yeah, it's a decent boat. I didn't pay very much for it. I had to put an engine in it though because, well, the old one was locked up. Okay, so I put an engine in, everything's good, it runs good. Just got to get that carburetor issue fixed. So now, what I had thought was a carburetor issue before I had it out in the water, because it did the same thing. It would like not get on plane, just starving. I'm like, what in the world? So I was like, well, I'm gonna pull the carburetor off anyway and clean it out, you know, because who knows, you know, could be dirt in there. It's the first thing you check when you're low on power. If the carburetor is good, then you got something else going on. But 90% of the time it's carburetor issues. Yeah, it could be spark, could be compression, but 90% of the time it's carb issues. But I pulled the carburetor off and there was a rag in the intake manifold. How I did not see that when I put the carb on, I even checked it because the guy had rags in it when I bought this motor. The guy had rags in it, and I pulled one rag out and I'm like, oh, okay. And I looked in there, of course it's dark, and I'm like, okay, good enough. So I threw the carb on, took it out in the water. Boy, it did not run great at all. It had a whole ass rag in the intake. Luckily it didn't get sucked down into the valves, but the rag was too big to fit down into the intake ports, thankfully. All right, well, I'm gonna get this thing apart here. Well, I'm gonna get the seat and stuff out of the way, and then we'll get right down to the nitty gritty, okay? So you can get these carburetor kits really cheap on Amazon, and they come with pretty much everything you need. Now in this little baggie is everything we're gonna need. Okay, I'm gonna use this workbench, aka my truck bed side. There's our new power valve there. This one's not together, so we're gonna have to build this one. As long as it has all the parts, looks like it does. See, what happened was I was rebuilding the carburetor in the boat and I pulled this power valve out. I don't know why they tighten these things. You know, you gotta get it apart to put the guts inside of it. Get my screwdriver out here. Of course, it's tight. But yeah, anyway, this is your power valve. It sits right in the bottom of the carburetor, like right in the very bottom. Hopefully you guys can see that without the sun being on the way. So this screws into the bottom of the carburetor. You got basically a valve here. It's just a needle and seat pretty much. The valve's tapered on the top side. So again, when I get in the boat, I'll explain it more. But there's basically a spring-loaded diaphragm actuated plunger. So when the engine starts to lose vacuum, it pushes on the power valve. Now when the engine has vacuum, it's running on just the idle circuit. But when you need fuel, it comes out of these ports here on the side. Can you see the ports? And basically richens up your mixture. That way, well, you have power. And I was being a silly fellow. Don't forget your little washer. Here's your actual valve right here. This is how the magic happens. Okay? If I can get the little scallywag out of there. So we can actually, we don't have to take the top off. Just put this in there. The spring goes on this, like so. Little tiny spring. And this goes in here like so. Like that. And then you also have this tiny little guy here, which basically looks like a jet. Which it probably is a jet if it looks like one. Kind of big though. So then this goes on the bottom of your power valve. If you guys can see because of the sun. This was the issue I had last time with these things. The hole isn't big enough for this little valve to pass through. I'll show you what I mean. So this has to slip through this little hole, and it does not. That's the only one we got in there. And our little kid, Amazon would never steer me wrong, would they? Make parts that don't fit. So we may end up drilling this out a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is supposed to slide real nice in this. And it does not. Okay. Well, let me work on this, get that to fit, and I'll bring you guys back. I have an old one here. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's all it does. Boop. So I may use this end cap if I can get it off. I know how these like to be super tight. I may actually have to go inside and use actual tools. Yep, I may end up just using this end piece here if it's bigger. If this little needle will fit through there. Looks like it will. Okay, let's work on getting this off. I could just clean this one up, but why when we got new parts right there? Now, you gonna play nice or you gonna play hardball here, huh? Oh, hardball. There it goes. Don't lose it. And here's your operation here. Very corroded operation, but it's the operation. Okay, toss that in the can. Won't be needing that anymore. Easy. Ooh, don't drop that. I think my fat saved it. Like so. Oh, is this one too big? It is too big. Well, why would they send the wrong parts to begin with? Okay, I guess we are gonna have to modify this one. Those weren't working too well. But what I did find is a needle file kit. And if we just twist this in here like so, it should open it up some, I'd hope. Definitely taking off material, so that's good. This is like a triangle deal, but it fits in there nice. Nice and square. There we go. That's perfect. So now, should be able to throw this in. Your short side goes towards the top. Your spring, and the piece we just modified. I'm not sure we're supposed to have a washer on it or something. There it goes. Put a washer on there. I think the kit came with one. And this should work out just fine. Alright, let's get her in the boat. Okay. Here's our carbonator. Unfortunately, I won't be able to test this until it's in the water. Unfortunately. This thing idles great. It just doesn't have any pickup, you know? I noticed the carburetor is missing a bolt. That was not done by me, I promise. I'm going to take these all the way out because I know if I don't, they'll be falling down in the bellows and everything else, in the bilge. That's probably what happened to that one that's missing. Fell down into Narnia. I'm sure the bowl still has fuel in it. Let's see if I can get this just to sneak by while the linkages are still hooked up. You gonna let me sneak it by? Really don't want to ruin this gasket. I may pull this accelerator pump linkage off just because it's fairly easy to do. A little clip here somewhere. You do not want to lose this little clip. Look how tiny that thing is. We'll set it right there, and that should pop out. And can we rotate? Alright, there's our power valve. Oh, that thing's way too stiff. I knew it was stiff going into it, but this is vacuum actuated, and this little spring is supposed to open this, and that's way too hard. So pull that power valve out. I knew it was stiff going in, but I thought it'll be alright. Turns out it wasn't. Yeah. I wish I could show you how much force it takes to push it down. Here, I'll just let it sit in my fingers and watch. I don't know if you can see my skin move. See how much force it takes to push that down? See how much force it takes to push that down? Compared to the new one. Barely any effort. So this should resolve all of our problems in life. A little bit of stuff floating around in there. That's alright. Jets will get it. We're going to use a new washer. I'm pretty confident this is going to fix all of our issues. only be some brass floating around in there because, well, okay. That should be it for this jobby. Make sure our float's still working, because I know I had issues with that. Seems to be. Alright. Get our accelerator pump back down in there. Gasket looks good. Okay, and bolt her back down. I just moved the bolt from here to here. I feel like the bolt sealing up is more important than the vacuum going by. I don't know, just the way I think. Okay. Well, there's no stress left in that one. That's what happened. Somebody over-torqued it. Alright, we'll put our link back on for pump. Accelerate for pump. Get this very tiny clip and be sure not to drop it. There, it's on. Alright, fuel line. There's also a filter in here as well, if you didn't know. I've got a filter on coming from the tank down there, and the carburetor actually has a little screen filter. Oh, that's why it's so loose. There ain't a bottom screw in that one. Sure, that works well. I know a guy that's got a couple more of these carburetors. Just borrow a screw for one of those. You want to be careful not to do that. I'm not sure what they're called inside of there. It's basically a spring, but it's like got wires in it. I'm not. I think this might be like a rheostat. I'm not. That might be the wrong word. See, it's already discombobulated. There it is. And you can adjust the amount of tension your choke has as well. This is a little like indicator here, and you got indicators here. I'm not sure where they want it. If they want it in the middle. I've always had good luck running it on the right side of the marks there. Because then when the engine warms up, this relaxes and opens the choke all the way. But if you have it too open, then it won't work. If you have it too closed, then it'll choke it out all the time. So I like to keep it right on the right side there. I'm not sure what book calls for it. I have to look it up. I have the book to these engines, which is nice. It came with one of the boats. He's like, "You want this manual?" I said, "Sure." And it has everything you need to know about these engines and outdrives. So I was pretty thankful for that. What I do with that knowledge is, you know, who knows, but I think I have this backwards. I guess we could tighten this choke up too. There's bolts that run in from this side. Oh no, I'm sorry, under here. I don't know. We'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. It seems good. This is tight, that's on. All right, I'll throw the old top hat back on. It's supposed to be a gasket in there, but you know. This is not a filter, by the way. It's just a spark arrestor, so it, in case the engine backfires, it catches the spark, the flame. Should throw the cover on. There's a cover that goes on these. I should throw that on, make it a little more more appealing. Although getting this engine cover off is a chore because it doesn't flip up because there's not enough room in here. Okay. That should have fixed all of our problems. Maybe I'll post a short on it on the lake. Well, you guys don't know how it ran before, but you can get the gist. Yeah, this is way too tight. Wrong spring in this power valve. Vacuum, or that little spring on the top could not overcome the tension in this power valve. So, okay, well, oh, I gotta adjust this linkage too. My foot's asleep. Good thing you guys reminded me. The linkage that goes out to the drive, which I believe it's this one. Oh, the jam nut's not even tight. That's nice. There's this one that goes to the drive. That one comes from the console. This one definitely goes downwards, like towards the drive. I don't know why there's not a locking nut on that. I guess it can't spin, neither can this, but definitely need to adjust this. Well, I'm not sure which way. Because in reverse, I guess I could put it in reverse and see what happens. It doesn't fully engage in reverse. Alright, it pushes out and that pulls in. Even this is a little stiff. This could use some lube. The cable could definitely use some lube. So you want to push. You want that to push further out. So if we bend this up and run this all the way down, not all the way down, but more than what it was. Will that push it further? This is definitely tight. I'd like to take that apart and lube that up. It's probably the cable itself, I'm sure. Well, the cable moves fine. It's just that first initial deal there. I wonder how that comes apart. Do I even want to know? Because if I do the throttle, that feels good. Oh. Did a little like wear pad right there. Alright, well, we're done with this for now. What do I do with that little key? There it is. I can adjust this on the water. That's not too hard. Don't know if that matters. Now what? Oh, is this nut in the way? No. Should sit down in there further. Maybe a little tap, a little tappy tap. Well, how in the world? Is that like bent up around it? Came out pretty easy. Well, for Pete's sake. Oh, I see where it's supposed to sit, and it seems like it's sitting there. Okay. That's weird. Now, is that clip gone forever? I don't know where it went. Oh, I see it. Oh, it's right at the back of the motor. Funny, I've had to tighten that hose up because we had this out for about 6 or 7 hours for Christmas in July, and that clamp wasn't tight. That very easily could have sank the boat. Because that's the fresh water tube for the engine. Not only would the engine have overheated, if the engine's still running, the outdrive is still pumping water. So it'd be pumping water into the boat and not the engine. So glad I remembered that. Anyway, let's dive into this thing, see if we can make it more user-friendly. I think this cover just pops off, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Big old nut, or screw rather. Never had one of these apart, so we're gonna figure this out together. What we got? Race car? A wannabe race car is a Mustang. Whoa. Okay. So I'm wondering if I just put some grease on here where this plastic thing rides. Little dollop of grease, huh? See if we can get that to, these are your trim wires. For some reason this thing has a trim up and down, and then it has tilt up and down, which the tilt brings it all the way up for like trailer, for transport. Maybe that's what it's for. I don't know why you would have up and down. All right, let me get some grease on there and see if it moves any better. I'm thinking it might be the cables, but you can see where it's been rubbing pretty hard on this. That's just your safety interlock, so you don't accidentally throw it in gear unwanted. Interesting how that works. This has some weight to it. I thought this was all plastic, but it's like cast aluminum or something. All right, let's get some grease on that. All right, I got this little dollop of grease. This is just multi-purpose grease. I'm just gonna spread some love right around this area. Not too much. All right, that should be plenty. I don't know if this is an end-all cure-all, but worth a shot, right? It really digs into that thing. Oh, it is the cables. Oh no, look at that. Look at the mark on that. It really gets her done in reverse. I wonder if we just bend it down a little bit, huh? Will it bend? With it being that, I believe it's cast aluminum, it ain't gonna bend very much. That stuff just likes to break. See, forward's definitely better than reverse. It's interesting. Definitely a lot of friction. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Hi, I'm back. I'm missing a shirt. I just took a shower. Hopefully YouTube won't flag this as OnlyFans. Anyway, lubing that little shift handle up did not fix anything. It's still stiffer than a board. So I'm just wondering if the cables are a little stiff. So anyway, it's gonna be the outro of this video. Me without a shirt on. The world's not ready to see that yet, so we'll keep it above the nip. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically if your 3.0 is down on power, especially out of the hole, if it just falls flat on its face, 9 times out of 10 it's the power valve that's dirty because, well, it sits at the bottom of the oh shit, I gotta turn the music off. Hey Google! No copyrights here. So yeah, basically if your 3.0 is down, well, any engine for that matter, the 4.3s, the 350s, the 454 BBCs, or BBF, depends. Big block Ford or big block Chevy, who knows? I would start with the power valve. It sits at the bottom of the carburetor. I'm not sure how it does. I'm not too familiar with the bigger engine carburetors. I'm not sure if they're the same concept or what, but I do know in the 3.0s and the 4.3s, they share the same carburetor. And if it's down on power out of the hole, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your power valve that's dirty or gummed up. And you can clean those. You can take them apart and clean them. I just happen to have a carburetor rebuild kit that had a new one in it. Of course, we had to modify it some. Why wouldn't we? But I would go ahead and check that out. It's super easy to pull that top hat off, as you saw. But I'd go ahead and order a gasket kit or a rebuild kit before you even tear it apart, because 9 times out of 10, the gasket's going to rip, and then, well, you're going to have a leak. Okay, simple as that. I already had this one apart, and the gasket was in good shape. Luckily, it stuck to the top hat, and everything was good there. So, yeah, next time we take it out, maybe I'll post a short and see how it's running. Of course, you guys don't know how it was running before because I didn't take a video of it, but it would. You'd get just past idle, coming up on throttle, and then all of a sudden it just dies. But if you go full throttle, the main jets take over and would allow me to get where I was going, but it still wouldn't get up on plane. Of course, I had 11 people on the boat and it's rated for 8. So weight could have been an issue. Plus, I had a full tank. So the boat was definitely heavy in the water. But yeah, next time I take it out, it's just going to be me or me and a buddy. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And I will see you guys in the next one.